Hey guys, welcome back to Coding Cabin's Intro to Python curriculum. And in this video we'll be looking at what are loops and why are they useful and why do we use them. So let's start off with what is a loop. A loop is just something that repeats code for a certain amount of time. So that's a pretty basic way of putting it. Why do we use loops? Well, loops just make our code so much more efficient and so much more readable, and overall just better, I guess. Because if I were to print hello world in this example, and I were just to keep on going down and I were to print it, I would be like, okay, this is one way to do it. Or how many times did I print it? I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. Or I could use a loop. And you don't have to learn the syntax yet. This is just explaining. How many times was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, a loop made that job so much easier. Now, let's start off with one of the loops, which is one of the two loops in Python. Both the loops are one of them is a while loop and the other one is a for loop. So we're going to start off with a while loop. A while loop is a loop that allows for a set of statements to be executed as long as a condition remains true. So as long as something remains true, it will just continue looping. So let's look at this for example. If I have number equals 1, and while number is less than, let's do 8, and make sure I put that colon and the indent so the compiler knows that I want to compile or execute all the code that is indented inside of the while. I can do print number, and then I can do this thing, if you remember from operators, number plus equals 1, which will basically add 1 to number each time loop runs through. So let's run this. I'm actually going to put this here. Nice. So it's going to do it 7 times because, let's think about it. If it starts at 1, then we're going to loop through. So while number is less than 8, is 1 less than 8? Yep, we're going to print number. Then we're going to add 1 to number. So what's number plus equals 1? That is, number is now 2. We're going to loop back up to the top. Is 2 less than 8? Yes. We're going to print 2, and we're going to add 1. And we're going to keep doing that until we'll just go to 6. So say number is equal to 6. We're going to say, is 6 less than 8? Yep. We're going to print 6. We're going to add 1 to 6. And then we're going to find that number is 7. We're going to loop up. Number is 7 less than 8. Yep. We're going to print 7. Add 1 to 7. Now number is 8. We're going to loop back up. Is 8 less than 8? Nope. 8 is not less than 8. So if you look here, this should be 8. Nice. As you can see, number is 8 here. That's why it didn't loop over again. And that's basically how a while loop works. Now, if, for example, I did not want the loop to run after something happened, if something happened, keyword is if. Like, if number equals 5, I just want to leave the loop altogether. And that is what we can use the break for. And this allows us to stop the loop even if the while condition is still true. So we run the code, right? Okay, we stopped at 5 and the value is 5. So let's look at it. When it was at 4, we went through it. 4 is less than 8. We print 4. If 4 equals 5, we break. It's not true, so we're going to skip that. 4 plus equals 1. Now it's 5. We're going to go up to the top. Number is less than 8. Print 5. if 5 equals 5, we're going to break. Now this completely leaves the code. It just completely leaves. Now we are at this point, so it will print whatever is here. So print, we have broken out of the loop. Cool. As you can see, when it was 5, we broke after it was 5. So that's what the break function does. I mean, that's what the break command does. Or the break statement, as it would call it. So we can also do something else. Just as the break statement leaves the loop altogether, say we wanted to skip an iteration and continue with the rest. Now, you're thinking, what's an iteration? Basically, an iteration is just whenever we run through while. So this loop, okay, the first time we go, that's one iteration, and then we do another iteration, and another iteration, and another iteration, and you get the idea that each time we go through the loop, that's considered an iteration. So let's look at this example. If we're up here, I'm going to have to change some things around. So I'm actually going to add this above the print, and I'm going to remove the print down here so it's not infinite. If number equals 5, I'm going to continue. And as you can see, that turns red. So with the continue statement. Alright, so we start at 1, and then we're going to increment up 1 already. So if we wanted to, but basically this is just adding 1, so it's going to add 2, and then we're going to print 2. And then let's look at what happens whenever it's 5. So this will be 5 right here. If 5 equals 5, we're going to continue, which means that we're just not going to execute after this point. We're just going to go back up to the top of the while when number is now 6. Well, number is actually now 5, but we're just going to do this and it will become 6 because we have to increment before it happens. So that's what the continue happens. It just results in whatever number I have here being missing from the output. So if I put 3, you can see that we'll have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I have 7, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. As you can see, it results in some number missing. So that is basically what a while loop is. Now we're going to move on to the second type of loop, which is a for loop. So just as the while loop was as something is true, we are using a for loop to iterate over a sequence. So we can use the break and continue functions in the exact same manner. So we're going to do this, for example. So we're going to do for I in range, and then we'll do 5. We're going to print I. So let's see what this does. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. It prints everything up until 5. So it will print 5 things because we're starting I automatically at 0. But what this means is for I in, which was one of our keywords in our operators, range 5. So for I in the range 5, we're going to print I. So it will happen 5 times. So one cool example I can show you is this. If we can start the range function at any number, and just like that substring, it will include that first number but not the second number. So we can do 1, 2, 8, for example. And I'm going to do if I mod 2 equals 0, I'm going to continue, and if not, I'm going to print I. So it's going to print out all the odd numbers. Interesting. Let's look why. If I mod 2 equals 0, I'm going to continue. Is 1 mod 2 equal to 0? No. And remember what I taught you in the operators video, that whenever I mod 2, I'm checking if something is even or not. So if it's not mod 2, I'm continuing, and then I'm printing it. And then I'm continuing the next one, and I'm printing it. So basically, it will only ever get to this print whenever it's not equal to 0. In other words, whenever it's an odd function. So basically, this is how a for loop works by using the range function. And I can do a lot of things with the range function. I can specify a start-stop which is a 1 and an 8 here. See, look, I can start at 3 and go to 8. I could start at, see, I'll go 3, 5 second. I can go 3 to 53, for example. This is going to be many. But you can see these are all odd numbers up till 50. Well, 53 won't be included, but up before 53. But I can also add in another thing, which is called a step parameter. And what this step parameter will do is, actually, I'm going to remove this. So I'm going to go from 1 to 10, counting up 2. Just as we had in that while where I was taking number and I was adding 1, this step will automatically do that for me with 1 if I have nothing here. But if I put something here, it will add 2 to I every single time that I increment through the loop. So let's look. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It starts at 1, and then we go to 5, 7, 9. Just as if I didn't have this, if I had this set to 0, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8. As you can see, that's what the increment does. I can change this to 3, 0, 3, 6, 9, right? So that's what the for loop with the range is. But I can also use for loops to iterate over strings, for example, right? So let's do for word in coding cabin print word. Let's see what this prints out. So it'll print out every individual character in coding cabin. And Python is smart enough to know already at the end whenever it stops, and it does that all for us. And this would be in other languages such as Java, like a for each loop, where I can iterate this through this, and I can do output whatever the term is. So say we do hello, so HELLO exclamation point. And that's basically how for loops work. So thanks for watching, and I know loops are very tricky, so if you got confused at any point, feel free to watch back. Make sure to do all the problems that we give for these loops, and I really hope that you'll get a better grasp of understanding what loops are, and we will continually use loops throughout the Intro to Python curriculum and the Intermediate Python curriculum to continually build up that grasp on what loops are and how they're very useful. So thanks for watching once again, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.